Hello friends, hope all of you are doing well. Today's video is particularly dedicated to those students who have requested me continuously and persistently to talk about some of the important poems from British Poetry MEG 1 paper of your basically MEG syllabus of MA English. So today I'm bringing this video, but before I start with this video, I want to just give a disclaimer that this particular video and this particular compilation of the important poems has been done on observation on the previous exams. Okay, so don't think that if I've skipped a particular poem that is not important. Yes, those poems which I'm mentioning, you are not supposed to skip them because those poems have a very high probability of coming for RTC questions as well for the essay type questions. So without any further ado, let's start with the video. So as we already know that we have 9 blocks in MEG 1 British Poetry, and the problem with this paper is that this paper is very vast. The syllabus is actually very lengthy, so it takes time to complete the entire syllabus. In fact, in most of the times a lot of students don't even go through the entire blocks. So I'll try to make your work easy by just mentioning the important topics here. You can see the screenshot of the block 1 topics, and the topic which is most important is the Chaucer's Prologue. Okay, so this particular topic is must, you have to go through it, and the questions has been asked on the same theme but with various different twists. Okay, and what happens is that sometimes a particular question from RTC is asked from the Nunspris Tale. Nunspris Tale is very easy. I have covered that topic as well in the British Poetry playlist, so if you want to go through it, you can go through it. So overall from block 1, just ensure that the Chaucer's Prologue you have covered. Moving to block 2 now, here we see the reminiscence poets are being discussed. So here the most important two poems are Epithalamion and Prothalamion. Both I have covered in the British Poetry playlist, the link of which is given in the description. Do check it out because these two poems are a must if you want to, quickly summarize the blocks. These two poems are the poems which you don't want to miss. Other than this, there are some other poems. If you have some time, you can go through it. Like sonnets are there, Spenser's poetry, the Amority sonnets. If you have time, you can just go through it, and eventually that will do for the block 2. So now moving to block 3. In block 3 we have the discussion on the metaphysical poets Donne, Herbert and Marvell. So here the level of uncertainty is little bit high because a lot of unpredictable questions has been asked, but we have 3 particular poems of Marvell which you have to read it all and you have to cover it thoroughly, and I have also covered it in my channel's playlist. So Andrew Marvell, a study of his poems to his coy mistress, the garden, and Horatian ode upon Cromwell's return from Ireland. So these poems are important of Andrew Marvell. Do cover it up, and if you have time, then go for the other two poets as well, which I have mentioned in the beginning of this block 3. That is Donne and Herbert Spenser, but only if you have time. Okay, so if you don't have time, since it's the last minute before the exam prep, only go for this particular poems that I've just mentioned, and 2 of these poems I've already covered in the channel's playlist. You can do check it out. Now coming to block 4, here we have Renaissance poets, and basically we will be studying only one poet here, that is Milton. It's very important that you can figure out some of the important questions for essay type questions as well from here. Like Milton is a religious poet, explain, this type of questions might be asked, and here you should be able to elaborate it properly because this type of question usually comes for 20 marks, and you should be all prepared to answer this type of questions. Now again we have poems like Lycidas, very important, has been repeated for several times. Then we have Penseroso, which hadn't come for years, and it may this time that it might surprise you. Okay, and one of the important poem that I've covered from this particular block is the On the Morning of Christ's Nativity. Okay, very important poem, and also actually a very lengthy one, but I tell you, I have said it several times that the pattern of IGNO's questions has been mostly they ask questions for RTCs from the initial few parts of the poem. So if you can just go through the poem and just go through the video that I've covered on it, then you'll be able to easily figure out what this poem is all about. Also for those who are very much inclined towards Christianity and towards Jesus Christ, you'll love this poem. So I do recommend that you do go through this poem, very important, On the Morning of Christ's Nativity and Lycidas from this particular topic. Also, as I've mentioned, Penseroso, it has not come for many years. Now from block 5, the neoclassical poets, that is Dryden and Pope, I'll recommend 2 particular pieces from this block, that is Mac Flecknoe and an epistle to Dr. Arbuthnot. Very important, you are not supposed to skip it at any cost. And also yes, it doesn't overrules the fact that there are other important topics in this particular block as well. So if you have time, to cover it up as well. But these 2 particular topics that I've mentioned, don't miss it, that is Mac Flecknoe and an epistle to Dr. Arbuthnot. So block 6 is about the romantic poets Blake, Wordsworth and Coleridge. So here from Wordsworth, the Prelude is examiner's favorite. Don't miss it at any cost. And from Blake, we have some of his compositions like The Tiger, The Chimney Sweeper, Sick Rose. Now, no one poem has been repeated. Okay, so get an overview of all these poems. Themes are almost same. Duality of human nature it is. Insert the core inspiration of the Song of Innocence and Experience for extra information. So very easy, and you can cover the Blake's portion that I've just mentioned. For Coleridge, you can just go through Dejection and Ode out of Rich. So this is important. Alright, so this is all from the block 6. So block 7 is about the second generation romantic poets Shelley and Keats. Okay, so P.B. Shelley's life and impact is important, and I want you to go through it because it's very important for essay type questions. So it usually comes for 20 marks. And for Keats, Hyperion is kind of important because quite some time back questions were asked from Hyperion, and it's also easy and I've covered it in my channel. So do go through it. So this particular two topics are important for block 7. So now we come to block 8 where we see the Victorian poets like Robert Browning, DJ and Christina Georgiana Rossetti and Oscar Wilde. So from here the uncertainty level is little bit higher, but still I would like to make things little bit easier for you. Like the unit 39 that you can see is Fra Lippo Lippi, you have to cover it. It's a little bit important compared to others. And we also have the Raphaelite Brotherhood. Okay, so the unit 40 is also important. So the pre-Raphaelite poems are also very important from this block, but overall the uncertainty from this block is quite high. Now coming to block 9, the modernist poets. Now this particular topic has been the favorite of examiners. Here poems like Easter, 1916, No Second Troy, and The Wasteland. Okay, The Wasteland is a particular poem that you are not supposed to skip. It's very important, and I have covered the entire poem in very much details, line by line explanation in my channel. So do check out the channel's playlist of British poetry. You will find all the relevant topics that I have mentioned present in our channel, and go through it to understand it better in a proper way. So from block 9, the modernist poets, we have Easter 1916, No Second Troy, and The Wasteland. Don't skip it at all. So from the block 10, sorry, I've mentioned in the beginning of the video that we have 9 blocks. Actually we have 10 blocks in MEG1 British poetry, and the 10th block is about the modernist and the postmodernist poets like the Dylan Thomas, Philip Larkin, Sylvia Plath, and so on, from unit 48 to unit 52. Now this particular block, since I've forgotten it in the beginning, so I have not done a particular research on this. So as per the trend, no poem is repeated. Hence make sure to do those poems which have not occurred in previous year question papers. Alright, but still I have covered a lot of poems from this particular block as well. So if you want to understand the level of difficulty or understand the psyche of this particular modernist and the postmodernist poets, go through our channel playlist and check those poems out as well. So this is the video, guys. I hope that you understand that this particular video was compiled on the assumption and analysis of previous year question papers. By no means I am saying that these particular topics that I have mentioned questions will definitely come. Okay, this is just made on probability, and this is only for those students who are on the nick of time and they are on the 11th hour of their preparation and they just want to go to the important topics. For those who have been preparing this MEG British poetry since 1 year, I would highly recommend that you continue with your prep, and yes, you can see this video for knowing the important topics, but stick to your game plan and don't change it. And those of you who are just want to get a decent mark and just go through this paper somehow, you can watch this video and go through the topics that I've mentioned. And yes, if you think that by your understanding I've missed some important topic, you can add that in your checklist as well. And if you have any recommendations or suggestions regarding this video or any other subjects, please do highlight it in our comment section. I would love to read your comments. Till I meet you next time, God bless you and thank you all.